Hey, 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 it's those little things that are going to make the difference. Stop the scroll and I'll tell you what I mean. All right, you guys. I wanted to go through this because the other day I was talking to my team and I had thought about this interview that George Kittle was on with the press after a football game. He's the tight end for the 49ers, San Francisco 49ers. And and he was wearing an Elijah Mitchell t-shirt, and they asked him why he was wearing that, and he said, well, he deserves it because he had 130 rushing yards today in the game, and he's just a great player. And they asked him what he thought made him such a great player, and he said because he's always running downhill, meaning he always falls forward. He always gets that extra yard. He turns it a 1 yard rush into a 3 yard rush, a 4 yard rush into an 8 yard rush. He's just got that little thing, those little tiny details, like making a dive when you really maybe wouldn't normally do that, but you do it and you make the play anyway, right? And those are the little tiny details that great athletes have. They know that those little things make all the difference. And yes, as a business owner, we can take some lessons from that. And the reason why is because once you get your thing built out, let's say you're building a sales page, right? Let's use that example. So you're building a sales page, and you do the best you can. You get it out there, and you start advertising for it or promoting it in some way or another. And you can have different kinds of results, right? You might have mediocre results, or you might have it completely fall flat, right? And if it falls flat, then oftentimes we just think, oh, we just need to give up, forget it. That wasn't a good thing. Nobody wants it. Let's move on to something else. But that is not the case. It could simply mean you just have to make some tweaks in your whole entire process where your clients, your prospects are, what their path is that they're moving through to that purchase. So they may be seeing a social media post that might inspire them to click. Once they click, they see a sales page. And when they see that sales page, it needs to inspire them to click or take action. And if it's not doing those things, then we need to start tweaking the ad copy, the social media post, all those things, so that we can make it perform to its potential. Make it perform to its potential. And that's really important, you guys, because the thing is that oftentimes I see newer entrepreneurs just kind of give up, right? They put something out there, they send out one email, do one social post, and they're like, well, nobody signed up, so it must be garbage, so I'm just moving on to something else. And those are the things that we don't want to do, right? What we want to do instead is think about what that great athlete does, right? It's the little things. And so what we want to start looking at is we want to create baseline data for that thing. So you put out a sales page, maybe you put out some ads, you create some baseline data. So you get the initial reaction from your fans, your prospects, whatever. And then now you have that. Now you can compare that to your to the industry standards, right? If you're not making industry standards, that becomes your first goal. How do you make that thing meet the industry standards? And you do that by looking at all the little pieces, looking at that path to purchase. And you take one thing at a time, right? So you start with the sales page. Why are they not, clicking, or why are they not taking action on that sales page when they do get there? And you can start looking at the copy, looking at the different things you're saying. Are you giving them enough information? Are you, telling them enough so that they feel compelled? And so I was actually watching a webinar by a guy named John Benson, and he said that he's a copywriter, and he founded Copy Pro. He wrote a book called, what's it called? Let me see what it's called so I can tell you. Open, click, and buy. Open, click, buy. And anyway, so he's a copywriter, and he said that he had a sales page that was completely underperforming, wasn't really doing a very good job. And all he had to do was change one word on that sales copy. And all of a sudden, it made all the difference. And that sales page went on to make and generate millions of dollars for that client. And so, the lesson there is that it's the little things, right? Sometimes it's the little things. It's not your offer. It's not your whole marketing, process or approach. It might just simply be small details. That's why you'll hear, Russell Brunson and some of the gurus tell you to do A/B testing, because what you can do then is have your first one, and then make modifications and then compare it to the other one and how it performs. And then you pick the best of those. You can make another one, make some more modifications, and you keep on tweaking it until it's getting the results that you think that it should be getting, right? So that's what I wanted to tell you today, because I think that it's super important. And what I love about Scrum, I'm a Scrum person. I love Scrum. I think Scrum is like genius. It's a genius way for people to work because it's so lightweight. It's built for sustainability. It's built so that people can have work-life balance. It's built so that you don't have arbitrary, stupid deadlines. You have real, target dates and things like that, so that you aren't, overworking for no reason, right? And when you do set dates, you're setting dates on the small little milestones that you're going to do. So you work in small chunks of work, that kind of thing. And so they have this whole process, right? It's a cycle. First you identify an opportunity. And so let's look at the iPhone as an example, okay? Because the iPhone, is my ideal sample for showing how Scrum works and how the continuous improvement process works. So first, you identify that opportunity, right? So now that you have the opportunity, you're like, okay, I need to create a smartphone, something that has a screen. It's got to have a keyboard, because people don't like to text with that, when you have to push 5 times to get a B and all that stuff. They don't want to do that anymore, right? And the days of the flip phone were gone, right? And so they found this opportunity. They wanted to do that. They wanted to put a camera on their phone. They wanted to have it, of course it had to make and receive calls. It had to do all those things. But and so then they look at that. So they identify the opportunity. They understand what the desired outcomes are. They know what the people want, right? Then they evaluate possible solutions. So, people want to take selfies and stuff like that, right? They're trying to take pictures of themselves with their cameras now, and it's really hard because they can't see the lens. So they wanted to do a front-facing camera. But with the iPhone 1, they weren't able to do that. They did not get that out there. So that's where the next step of this process comes. You build at least part of it. So when you build at least part of it, that means you're prioritizing, right? And the way we prioritize in Scrum is must have, should have, could have, won't have at this time. So that front-facing camera, they wanted to have it, but it wasn't ready, but they didn't want to hold up the release of the iPhone. So do you see the shift there? The shift there is that you didn't create this hard deadline and then you're struggling to get every single feature in there to make that deadline. Instead, they said, no, we still want to make that deadline, but we're going to cut this feature out so that we can still make the deadline. And then we'll just do it in our next iteration. And that's what they did. So once they build at least part of it, then they get it out there and they start measuring. They start collecting data. They see how much revenue they can build, all that stuff, right? And the great thing about that is it by getting it out there, even without the flip phone, the forward-facing camera, they're able to generate revenue for their project so they can continue it to the next phase. And then they just repeat the cycle, right? So they've deployed it, they measure it. Now they're going to take all that data that they have and they're going to look for more opportunities. Of course, they're going to fix bugs. They're going to, update their software to make things smoother, sleeker. They might update their hardware, like putting the front facing camera in. So they're going to add features, they're going to fix problems, they're going to fix bugs, and they're going to improve on things, just simply improving on things. And that's the process that you want to take. And even with that sales page, if you think about it, that's the cycle that you're going on is, you're identifying that opportunity. You realize people need this course or whatever it is that you created, right? And you've understood the outcome. So you're creating a solution for them, all the possible solutions. You're deciding on the best ones, and then you build at least part of it. Now, one of the cool things about that is that I may have lost my internet connection. I hope I didn't, but is that you just keep going through this process over and over and over again until you build it out to what you want it to be. And in fact, you don't actually stop improving on it, stop adding features until you retire that thing. Like the iPhone 13 Pro now is, the best camera, the best everything that you can get from the iPhone. It's an amazing product, right? Everybody loves it, but it's definitely far from what the iPhone 1 was. Well, that's how it is with your business. The iPhone 13 didn't happen their first release. It happens, it's now. How many years later? I don't remember what year it was that they released the iPhone 1, but let's say it's probably been at least 13 years, right? And so, think about the future of your business and where you want the future of your business to be. That business model that you see you're being at 5 years, that's what you're working toward today. That's what you're working toward. And so by using the Scrum process of continuous improvement, you continue to tweak and improve and add features, and you do it in a sustainable way that you can handle, and you don't have to make your prospects and your clients wait for 13 years to get that best iPhone, right? They didn't have to wait. They got to get the iPhone early on and start trying it out and provide feedback. So all right, guys. So I wanted you to just go through that and think about that. Continuous improvement is the way to go. Don't give up on something just because you try things once. Get in there, get that baseline data, compare it to the industry standards, and then start tweaking it until it meets that industry standard. That is your goal. That is your baseline. If you're making industry standard already, more power to you. That's fantastic. And I think that's just amazing, if you can do that and when you can get to that. And besides that, just so you know, I was listening to Emily Hirsch. She has a podcast. She's Emily Hirsch Marketing, if you want to find her. And she said that building a funnel and making a funnel break even is the hardest part of having a funnel. Once you break even, the rest is easier. Making a profit is easier. So think about that. It's all the tweaking, all that stuff that you're going to do. It's the little things, right? The change of a word, the, adding of one little feature, maybe, doing something a little different. It's all that stuff that adds up and accumulates into one awesome product. All right. Okay, you guys, I hope that was helpful. And so keep on going. Don't give up. Just get that screwdriver and the wrench out and just start tweaking things a little bit until you start seeing some changes. And don't forget to measure, and compare to those industry standards. All right. Talk to you later. I'll see you in the comments.